Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're
Well,
diving into something that honestly feels straight out of sci-fi. Personalized AI.
Mhm.
You know, those chatbots that are getting so popular, like imagine one that's basically an extension of you, perfectly tailored to your needs. It's kind of wild, right?
Oh, right. And that's what Google's aiming for with their new Gemini updates. And we're going to break down exactly how they plan to pull it off.
Yeah, what's interesting here is that Google isn't just creating another chatbot, you know what I mean?
mm,
They're really trying to create a unique, personalized experience to make Gemini stand out, from everything else that's out there.
Okay, so that sounds pretty ambitious. So how are they actually doing that?
Well, think about all the data that you've already shared with Google, your search history, the photos you've uploaded to Google Photos, your YouTube watch history.
Right.
They're using all of that to create a custom profile that informs how Gemini responds to you.
So it's not just generic responses anymore. It's actually pulling from my data to give me answers. Exactly. Let's say you're searching for a new restaurant in your area. Instead of just showing you the most popular spots, right? Gemini could look at your past food searches and suggest places that align with your specific taste. Or maybe you're planning a trip. Gemini could analyze your past travel photos and videos to recommend destinations that you might actually enjoy.
Okay, that is pretty cool, but I have to admit it's a little unnerving too. All that personal data being accessed to tailor my chatbot experience. I'm sure some of you listening are a little freaked out about the privacy implications here. What if it accidentally reveals something I didn't want to share?
You're right to be cautious. Google is very aware of those concerns, and they've stressed that Gemini with personalization is completely opt-in. You have to specifically choose to allow it to access your data. They're also excluding users under 18 and being very transparent about which data sources are being used. And you can even disconnect your search history and other data if you change your mind.
Okay, so there are safeguards in place, but it definitely brings up that classic debate, personalization versus privacy. Definitely a lot to think about there. But before we get too deep into that, I'm curious about the tech behind all of this. How is Google actually making a chatbot that can reason and personalize like that?
Well, this is where it gets really fascinating. They're using something called the Gemini 2.0 Flash Thinking Experimental AI model. Now, it's not just blindly pulling data from your profile. It actually analyzes your data and assesses whether it's relevant to enhance the answer.
Hold on. Reasoning AI. Can you break that down a little?
Imagine a librarian who knows your reading taste inside and out. They wouldn't just hand you any random book. They'd use their knowledge of your preferences to select something that you'd truly enjoy, right?
Yeah.
That's what Gemini's reasoning model is trying to do. It's aiming to understand your individual needs and preferences so it can give you the most useful and relevant responses.
Okay, I can see how that sets it apart from just a simple keyword-based chatbot. It's more like having an AI assistant that actually understands you.
Precisely. And that's where the personalization aspect really comes into play. It's not just about convenience. It's about making Gemini a more valuable and insightful tool for each user.
So we've got the personalization angle and the tech behind it. Is there anything else that makes Gemini stand out in this increasingly crowded chatbot market?
Absolutely. Personalization is just one part of a much larger strategy. Google's also rolled out a ton of other updates from new AI models and enhanced research capabilities to seamless app connections. They're really trying to create a more comprehensive and useful AI assistant that can be integrated into every aspect of your digital life.
And how about for our listeners, the knowledge seekers who are always eager to learn? What's in it for them? What kind of features would appeal to that learner mindset?
Well, there are some pretty cool features that cater specifically to that. Take deep research, for example. It allows you to dive into any topic you're interested in. And here's the really cool part. The AI actually shows you its thinking steps so you can see how it arrived at its conclusions.
Oh, so it's not just giving you an answer. It's showing you its work. I can definitely see how
yeah.
that would be incredibly helpful for learning. What else?
Then there are gems. These are essentially customizable chatbots designed for specific topics. So you could have one dedicated to history, another for cooking, another for anything you can imagine.
That sounds incredibly useful for focusing your learning. Okay. So is all of this available to everyone, or are there certain limitations?
This is where the landscape of AI access gets interesting. Some features like the standalone version of the 2.0 Flash Thinking experimental model with its massive 1 million token context window are exclusive to Gemini Advanced, the paid tier of the service.
So are we starting to see this trend of tiered AI access where more advanced features come at a cost?
It's definitely something to watch. As these technologies evolve and become more sophisticated, we're likely to see a variety of access models emerge.
Interesting food for thought as we navigate this rapidly evolving world of AI. And speaking of evolution, Google didn't stop there. They've been actively responding to the competition, enhancing deep research even further. It's now free to try for all Gemini users, and for those with the paid tier, they've increased the usage limits and upgraded to the 2.0 flash thinking experimental model as the default.
That means deeper, more insightful reports, which is definitely a win for the knowledge seekers out there. And for the free users, there's good news there too.
Oh, I'm intrigued. What else can free users look forward to?
Well, remember those gems we talked about? The topic-specific chatbots? Those are now available to everyone. And coming soon, all Gemini users will be able to connect directly with Google Photos.
Okay, so we've got personalization advanced features and some serious competition heating up the AI chatbot world. This is definitely a space to watch. But before we move on, I think it's important to circle back to that big question.
In the privacy aspect.
Exactly. We talked about Google's safeguards, but I want to dig a little deeper into how they're ensuring user control over their data. After all, personalization relies heavily on access to that data, and it's crucial to understand how that access is being managed.
You're absolutely right. Google has gone to great lengths to emphasize the control users have over their data with this new personalization feature.
Can you elaborate on that a bit more? What specific measures have they put in place?
Sure. Google understands the potential privacy concerns and has taken several steps to ensure users are in the driver's seat when it comes to their data. As I mentioned earlier, Gemini with personalization is strictly opt-in. You have to give explicit permission for Gemini to access your search history and other Google apps.
So it's not like they're automatically digging into everyone's data without their knowledge.
Exactly. To ensure transparency, Gemini will display a clear banner indicating when it's using personalized information. It even shows you the specific data sources it's drawing from. And if you change your mind, there's a readily accessible link to disconnect your search history and other data.
That's reassuring. It sounds like they're trying to strike a balance between offering a personalized experience and respecting user privacy.
Absolutely. They've also been upfront about the limitations. They've stated that future usage limits may apply, which suggests they're still figuring out the best way to manage this feature as it evolves.
It's fascinating how this personalization aspect really highlights the evolving relationship between humans and AI.
Yeah.
We're seeing these AI tools become increasingly integrated into our lives, making that balance between convenience and privacy all the more crucial.
It's a fascinating time to be exploring these technologies. The possibilities seem endless, but it's important to approach them with a critical eye, considering both the benefits and the potential risks.
So what does all this mean for our listeners? What's the key takeaway from all of this?
I think the main takeaway is that the landscape of AI chatbots is rapidly evolving. Google is clearly betting big on personalization as a way to differentiate Gemini and attract users. But the crucial question is the trade-off worth it for you?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Would you be comfortable letting a chatbot access your personal data in exchange for a more customized experience?
It's a personal decision, and there's no right or wrong answer. But it's something to consider carefully as these technologies become more prevalent in our lives.
And that brings us to the heart of today's deep dive. We've explored Google's ambitious plans for Gemini, from leveraging personal data to enhance its responses to introducing a slew of new features designed to make it a more powerful and versatile tool.
We've examined the reasoning capabilities of the Gemini 2.0 flash thinking experimental model, delved into the privacy implications, and highlighted Google's efforts to prioritize user control and transparency.
We've seen how the competition in the AI chatbot arena is heating up with companies like OpenAI and Amazon pushing the boundaries in their own ways.
It's a dynamic field, and it will be interesting to see how it all unfolds in the coming months and years.
But for now, we want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. In this age of increasingly personalized AI, where do you draw the line between convenience and privacy?
It's a question that will continue to challenge us as AI becomes more deeply integrated into our daily lives. The potential benefits are undeniable. Tailored recommendations, time-saving insights, and a more intuitive and personalized digital experience. But at what cost?
It's a balancing act, for sure. And the choices we make today will shape the future of AI and its role in our society. So keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep asking those tough questions.
And as always, stay curious, friends. Yeah, it's a question worth pondering. Think about it. We're already seeing personalized experiences everywhere, from the ads we see online to the recommendations we get on streaming services. Now imagine that level of personalization applied to a powerful tool like an AI chatbot.
And I think that's what's so fascinating about Gemini, right? It's not just another chatbot. It's being positioned as a highly individualized tool, almost like an extension of your own mind, but with the vast knowledge of Google's data behind it.
Right. It's almost as if they're trying to blur those lines between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Creating something that feels truly integrated with your thoughts and your needs.
And that brings us back to that central question. Is that level of integration something that you're comfortable with?
Yeah.
And it's a personal choice, and there's no easy answer. But understanding how Gemini works, its potential benefits, and the steps that Google is taking to address privacy concerns can help us all make more informed decisions.
Exactly. And it's not just about personal comfort, it's about the broader implications for society. How do we ensure responsible development and use of these technologies as they become increasingly sophisticated?
Yeah, it's a conversation we need to be having now, not later, because, this technology is moving at an incredible pace,
Yeah.
and it's only going to become more integrated into our lives.
Absolutely. And the choices we make today as individuals and as a society will shape the future of AI and its impact on our world.
So let's shift gears for a moment and explore some of those choices. We've talked about personalization and privacy, but what about the actual user experience?
Yeah.
What sets Gemini apart from other AI chatbots on the market?
Well, one of the key differentiators is its focus on knowledge and learning. Remember those features we discussed earlier, like deep research and gems?
Right.
Those are specifically designed to empower users to explore topics in depth, understand how the AI arrives at its conclusions, and even create custom learning experiences tailored to their interests.
And that's where Gemini's personalization capabilities really shine, right? I mean, imagine having a chatbot that can anticipate your learning needs, suggest relevant resources, and adapt to your individual learning style.
Yeah, it's almost like having a personal tutor or like a knowledgeable companion guiding you through, this vast world of information.
And not just any companion, one that's backed by the incredible resources and knowledge base of Google. That's a powerful combination.
Exactly. And Google is clearly investing, heavily in making Gemini a leader in this space. They're constantly updating the platform, adding new features, and refining that user experience.
It's an exciting time to be following this technology,
Yeah.
and it's clear that the chatbot wars are heating up.
Yeah.
What do you think? Will Gemini be able to hold its own against competitors like OpenAI's ChatGPT and Amazon's offerings?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's a competitive landscape, and each platform has its own, strengths and weaknesses. ChatGPT has gained a lot of popularity for its conversational abilities, while Amazon is leveraging its vast e-commerce network to integrate AI into shopping
Yeah.
experiences.
But Google has a few aces up its sleeve as well. Its search dominance, its vast data resources, and its deep understanding of user behavior give it a significant advantage.
And they're clearly leveraging those strengths to create a chatbot that's both powerful and personalized. Whether Gemini will ultimately succeed remains to be seen, but it's certainly a force to be reckoned with.
It's a fascinating story unfolding before our eyes, and it's one we'll continue to follow closely. But for now, we want to leave you with a final thought to ponder as you navigate this new world of personalized AI. What are your personal values when it comes to technology and data privacy?
Yeah, it's a question worth considering. As AI becomes increasingly intertwined with our lives, it's essential to define our own boundaries and make informed choices about, the technologies we embrace.
Yeah, it's about finding that balance, right,
Right.
between the convenience and personalization that AI offers and the need to protect our data and privacy.
Exactly. And that balance, it might look different for each individual. What's important is that we're having these conversations. We're asking those tough questions and making conscious choices about the role that we want AI to play in our lives.
It's so easy to get caught up in the hype surrounding AI, but at the end of the day, it is just a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or, for ill. It's really up to us as users and as a society to kind of guide its development and ensure it's used ethically and responsibly.
Yeah, I completely agree. We can't just passively accept whatever new AI advancements come our way. We need to be actively engaged critical thinkers, asking questions, demanding transparency, and holding developers accountable for the impact of their creations.
It's almost like we're at a crossroads right now, with the potential for AI to either empower us or potentially exploit us.
And the path that we choose will depend on the choices that we make today. Do we prioritize convenience over privacy? Do we blindly trust these technologies? Or do we demand safeguards and ethical considerations? These are questions we all need to grapple with.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Google's Gemini, let's leave our listeners with a challenge. Don't just be consumers of this technology. be active participants in shaping its future. Stay informed, stay engaged, and don't be afraid to ask those tough questions.
And as always, stay curious. The world of AI is rapidly evolving and there's so much more to discover. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Google's Gemini. We've covered a lot of ground today, from personalization and privacy to the potential benefits and risks of this increasingly sophisticated technology. Remember, the future of AI is being shaped right now, and we all have a role to play in ensuring it's a future that benefits all of us. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those critical thinking caps on. Until next time, stay curious, my friends.